ever heard of a revolution where they lock arms, as Reverend Cleage was pointing out beautifully, singing, "We shall overcome"? Just tell me you don't do that in a revolution. You don't do any singing, you're too busy swinging. It's based on land. A revolutionary wants land so he can set up his own nation. That's right. An independent nation. That's right. These Negroes aren't asking for no nation. They're trying to crawl back on the plantation. When you want a nation, that's called nationalism. When the white man became involved in a revolution in this country against England, what was it for? He wanted this land so he could set up another white nation. That's white nationalism. The American Revolution was white nationalism. The French Revolution was white nationalism. The Russian Revolution too, yes, it was white nationalism. You don't think so? Why you think Khrushchev and Mao can't get their heads together? White nationalism. All the revolutions that's going on in Asia and Africa today are based on what? Black nationalism. A revolutionary is a black nationalist. He wants a nation. I was reading some beautiful words by Reverend Cleage pointing out why he couldn't get together with someone else here in the city. Because all of them were afraid of being identified with black nationalism. If you're afraid of black nationalism, you're afraid of revolution. And if you love revolution, you love black nationalism. To understand this, you have to go back to what young brother here referred to as the house Negro and the field Negro. Back during slavery, there was two kinds of slaves. There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food, what he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but still they lived near their master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master would. The house Negro, if the master said, "We got a good house here," the house Negro said, "Yeah, we got a good house here." Whenever the master said "we," he said "we." That's how you can tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, "What's the matter, boss?" "We sick. We sick." He identified himself with his master more than his master identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, "Let's run away, let's escape, let's separate," that house Negro would look at you and say, "Man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this?" That was that house Negro. In those days, he was called a house nigger. And that's what we call him today, because we still got some house niggers running around here. This modern house Negro loves his master. He wants to live near him. He'll pay 3 times as much as the house is worth just to live near his master. And then brag about, "I'm the only Negro out here." "I'm the only one on my job." I'm the only one in this school. You're nothing but a house Negro. And if someone come to you right now and say, let's separate, you say the same thing that the house Negro said on the plantation. What you mean separate? From America? This good white man? Where you gonna get a better job than you get here? I mean, this is what you say. I ain't left nothing in Africa. That's what you say. Why, you left your mind in Africa. On that same plantation, there was the field Negro. The field Negro, those were the masses. There was always more Negroes in the field than there was Negroes in the house. The Negro in the field caught hell. He ate leftovers. In the house, they ate high up on the hog. The Negro in the field didn't get nothing but what was left of the insides of the hog. They call them chitlins nowadays. In those days, they call them what they were, guts. That's what you were, a gut eater. And some of you all still gut eaters. The field Negro was beaten from morning till night. He lived in a shack, in a hut. He wore cast-off clothes. And he hated his master. I say he hated his master. He was intelligent. That house Negro loved his master. But that field Negro, remember, they were in the majority. And they hated the master. When the house caught on fire, he didn't try and put it out. That field Negro prayed for a wind, for a breeze. When the master got sick, the field Negro prayed that he died. If someone come to the field Negro and said, let's separate, let's run, he didn't say, where are we going? He said, any place is better than here. You got field Negroes in America today. I'm a field Negro. The masses are the field Negroes.
The struggle against the bourgeoisie in the underdeveloped countries is far from being simply theoretical. It is not a question of deciphering the way history has judged and condemned it. The national bourgeoisie in the underdeveloped countries should not be combated because it threatens to curb the overall harmonious development of the nation. It must be resolutely opposed because literally it serves no purpose. Mediocre in its winnings, in its achievements, and its thinkings, this bourgeoisie attempts to mask its mediocrity by ostentatious projects for individual prestige, chrome-plated American cars, vacations on the French Riviera, and weekends in neon-lit nightclubs. The bourgeoisie, which increasingly turns its back on the overall population, fails to even squeeze from the West such spectacular concessions as valuable investments in the country's economy or the installation of certain industries. Assembly plants, however, are on the increase, a tendency that confirms the neo-colonist model in which the national economy is struggling. In no way, therefore, can it be said that the national bourgeoisie slows the country's development. That it is wasting the nation's time or possibly leading it to a dead end. But the truth is that the bourgeoisie plans in the history of the underdeveloped country are useless or a useless phase. Once the caste has been eliminated, swallowed up by its own contradictions, it will be clear to everyone that no progress has ever been made since independence and that everything has to be started over again from scratch. Sounds familiar? This restructuring of the economy will not be based on the order set in place by the bourgeoisie during its reign, since this caste has done nothing else but prolong the heritage of the colonial economy, thinking, and institutions. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Happy Monday. Welcome back to On the Shoulders of Giants. I am Joseph Ward, continuing my reading of Frantz Fanon's book, Wretched of the Earth. And this is the second half of chapter 3, the trials and tribulations of the national consciousness. And we're picking back up talking about the role and the impact, more so the negative impact of the bourgeoisie, the talented 10th, the elite class of Black people, the Africans, or even the Black Americans here, who have sold us out for personal gain. They turned their back on the masses so they can get what they can get for themselves, and then turn back around and complain about racism. Well, you helped it grow. You helped it manifest. You helped it transform. You helped it get more entrenched into the system, into this country. You stepped on your own people for personal gain. The bourgeoisie. Who are our leaders, and why are they our leaders? Are they our leaders because we made them leaders, or we leaders because the white folks said that they were leaders? Right? One of our main issues is the masses. We don't understand our power as masses, and we are powerless because of our mindsets. So just like white supremacy, a small number of people has more of the power and control over the lives of a greater number of people. And there's something wrong with that. Something wrong with that picture. Something wrong with that picture. Something wrong with the masses not understanding that power. But the masses don't understand the power because of the conditioning. So therefore, we have to fight the conditioning, fight to flip on our switches, and to be able to recognize what's going on around us so we can make the proper changes for ourselves. And of course, we're not talking to the masses, even though I'm talking about what is happening to the masses. And we're not talking to the masses because we understand by now that the masses will not wake up. But for those who are tuning in, for those this resonates with, if your switch is not already on, it's high time for your switch to come on, or your switch will come on within time, and you will be able to see. Once you put the glasses on, you can't take them off. Once you see what's going on, you can't go back. But the thing is to not just remain angry. What are we going to do different to better our situation? We're not talking to the masses. We're talking about those who give a damn. What are we going to do different? That's why we're reading this book. That's why we're reading all the books we're reading. What are we going to do different? All right? Because as of right now, our leaders, quote unquote leaders, are leading us down a dead end. Our leaders are leading us back into the burning buildings. We've gone back into the burning buildings that Dr. King said that he feared that he led us into. The leaders after King, the Jesse Jacksons, the Al Sharptons, and the other of the like, the elite and all the other bourgeoisie class of people who's supposed to be our leaders, the Boule and everybody who's supposed to be the voices for us, who stand up for us, who advocate for us. You're advocating for people that you don't even know. Because remember, in the first half of this, in last video, we talked about this bourgeoisie representing a class of people that they have no real connection with because they have alienated themselves from the masses. So they are not speaking from the true voice of the masses. They're speaking of what they said the masses need. You never came and asked the masses what they need. You told the masses. Matter of fact, you didn't even tell the masses what they need. You told the colonizers what the masses need. Something wrong with that picture. But you did it all for personal gain. That's why you did it. You did it for personal gain. You did it so you can better position yourself within white society, and then create more opportunities for yourself and try to capitalize off those opportunities. Never with the intention of empowering the masses, only empowering your pockets and empowering your view in the eyes of the white people that you want love from. That's why we need new leaders. But the masses, we have to recognize our power. So let's jump back into it. Last part of page 120, because I'm picking up on 120, page 120, and going to page 144. Page 121 to page 144 for this video. It is that much easier to neutralize the bourgeoisie class since As we have seen, it is numerically, intellectually, and economically weak. In the colonized territories after independence, the bourgeoisie caste draws its main strength from agreements signed with the former colonial power. Listen now, the national bourgeoisie has an even greater chance of taking over from the colonist oppressor since it has been given every opportunity to maintain its close link with the ex-colonial power. But deep-rooted contradictions shake the ranks of this bourgeoisie, giving the close observer an impression of instability. There is not yet a homogeny of caste. Excuse me, let me say that again. There is not yet a homogeny of caste. Many intellectuals, for instance, condemn this regime based on domination by a select few. In the underdeveloped countries, there are intellectuals, civil servants, and senior officials who sincerely feel the need for a planned economy for outlawing profiteers and doing away with any form of mystification. Moreover, such men, to a certain degree, are in favor of maximum participation by the people in the management of the public affairs, because that's where they're getting their crumbs from. That's where they're getting their bread and butter from. You have to stay attached to the people. Well, they're not biting the hand that feed them. Basically, they're not biting the hand that feed them, i.e., the colonizers. So the bourgeoisie has to do whatever they need to do to make sure that they stay in close link, in good graces. Where they say, good neighbors build good fences or something like that. I might have butchered the quote, but good neighbors build good fences. Meaning, hey, I know we ain't really supposed to be down like that, but if I can get something out of it, why not be down? You know what I'm saying? That's up to y'all to be able to get what y'all need. But me right now, if I could be down with these folk and get what I need, I'm gonna do that. Okay. So this bourgeoisie, which has unreservedly and enthusiastically adopted the intellectual reflexes characteristic of the metropolis, who has alienated to perfection its own thought and grounded its consciousness in typically foreign notions, has difficulty swallowing the fact that it is lacking in the one thing that makes a bourgeoisie: money. Y'all broke. So that the broke bourgeoisie has to stay connected to the colonizers, because that's where they get their money from, because they ain't got their own money, because they don't have the will to build from scratch. The bourgeoisie of the underdeveloped countries is a bourgeoisie in spirit only. It has neither the economic power nor the managerial dynamicism nor the scope of ideas to qualify it as a bourgeoisie. Consequently, it is in its early stages and remains a bourgeoisie of civil servants. Whatever confidence and strength it possesses will derive from the position it occupies in the new national administration. Given time and opportunity by the authorities, it will succeed in amassing a small fortune that will reinforce its domination. But it will still prove incapable of creating a genuine bourgeoisie society with all the economic and industrial consequences that supposes. So it's a bourgeoisie in ideas, it's a bourgeoisie in proximity, it's a bourgeoisie in class and caste, it's a bourgeoisie in privilege, and the privilege not coming from black power, the privilege coming from proximity to whiteness. Because remember, he's saying this is the bourgeoisie class with no money. Usually what makes a class of people bougie? Money. But these people have no money. But what they do have as currency is more than the other groups have. But the other groups don't want that type of currency, because that's not real currency. It's more of indebtedness. It's more of debt, rather. It's more of debt than currency, because you are doing the bidding. We will do these things for you if you do these things for us, the quid pro quo. So in order for us to give you the crumbs off of our table, you must structure your government in a way that favors us and make sure that we still receive the lion's share of whatever you all are producing or whatever you have, so you all can remain poor and always remain dependent upon me. So, if you owe me, I'll never be broke.